Hello. All right. Okay, so let's create some UI. So let's start by seeing what we have here. Start up this device. All right. Okay. Let's go to Figma. Hmm. Sure, sure. Okay. And this color is a little ugly. Deal with that later. Okay, so to create this, I need a background image. I need a button. The background image I can just draw as the sky. I don't. That way, I still have the option to use 3D and between the UI and the background if I ever have to, and I won't need to create another element. Okay, yeah, let's do that for now. And then I'll probably need a panel at the bottom with a layout thing, horizontal layout thing. It's gonna have all of these buttons. And then this, how would I do this? Hmm. Hmm. This can be a scrollable vertical view that takes up this complete region. Yeah, that should work. Let's make this white so that we can see it. It'll be a box like this. Another box. All right. Apparently I cannot duplicate this. Another box will end here, and another box that will end here, and a box for spacing at the bottom. Box at the top. Okay, everything can be fit into a vertical layout with a scroll box in the center. Okay. And then the play button. How do I put the play button over there? Do I need a play button? Why can't I just tap on? Because if I tap accidentally or while I'm scrolling, I could accidentally enter the game. So, okay. Yes, maybe the play button is necessary. Okay. Yes, yeah, we'll see about that. And then the thing over here, game design will change possibly. So we'll worry about that later. Okay. Amazing. Okay. Yeah, let me just confirm the sound on the stream. Just a moment. All right, everything sounds great. Let's continue then. Okay. So now let's see how. Okay. Yeah. So let's see how I'm gonna. Hmm. Yeah, this seems better. Okay. Let's create a new branch. Oh, what's this? Okay, we need to push this. Test line. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. This do I need this source? Oh yeah, I don't need this. Okay, tone map, shift go to line apparently. Wow. Let's get rid of this. Or maybe I could have committed that, but yeah, sure. As this also I do not need. Yeah, I do not need these lines. Okay, let's commit these. Let's create a new branch based on deferred rendering. Let's call it UI setup. Amazing. So I already have a button class, but I'm thinking I'm gonna create a new button class under the UI namespace. Yeah, that should work. And then there's gonna be a canvas. Let's note this down somewhere. Okay, so we're gonna have a canvas that's gonna hold layout groups. This is gonna be very similar to immediate mode UIs, maybe possibly. It can have layout groups, horizontal and vertical. It can have buttons, it can have images, and these things can have, again, buttons, images. Why do we have a canvas at all? That's gonna store the positions. Yeah, that's gonna store the positions. And all of this is gonna be stored under a UI struct, I would assume. Okay. Yeah. So there's gonna be a user interface class. There's gonna be a canvas within it. Okay, this is very small on screen. How do I? Yeah, that's better. Okay. Sounds about right. Now, these things So if you're in a layered group, you're gonna have the ability to expand and occupy. Uh, so components can expand slash stretch vertically and or horizontally. That can happen for all of these things. There's gonna be a relative scaling based on a reference resolution. So I'm gonna do it later. Okay, so I'm gonna have to how do I save as UI setup to do .txt. Okay, this makes sense. We're gonna add things as in when we feel the need. Okay, so let's start by creating a UI class. I'm gonna go to my main file. Let's jump out. Let's create a UI dot. Let's create a UI dot h and UI dot cpp. And this is gonna have runs. Do I need a UI class right now? I might, but I don't. This might just be a UI manager. That sounds about right. Okay, my shift doesn't seem to work. UI H, gonna paste these things over here. Okay, and I'm gonna wrap this in a namespace. Something like UI. Okay. Using namespace UI over here. Okay. The UI manager is not gonna do anything for us now. What is happening? Right. Okay, then I'm gonna have a UI canvas. Yeah, let's start with the button. Let's start with the button. That makes no sense. Alright. This is the CPP file. Performance class. No errors. Alright. Gonna wrap this in the UI namespace. And these will go here. Include UI button and using space UI. Okay, and now let's bring up the old button and let's see what do I need to re-implement this. Okay, so button is of type drawable entity. Don't want to keep that around. I mean, UI could just be another entity. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah, that should just work. Okay, let's do that then. They have a add-on click listener. There we have a signal. All right. What's this do? On click.connect function. Okay. Could have just on click.connect. So I'm gonna follow that for now. Okay. Now this is gonna be a const char. So here I'm assuming that I'm always gonna have a texture for my button. This is probably true. Yeah, I'm never gonna have a button without a texture. So file paths for my texture. Color. Let's not do that. And a vector 4, just gonna be the position and size of minus pass a rect. Alright, do I not have Raylib over here? Mob. Rect. Is it called a rectangle? Okay, it's called a rectangle, I guess. Alright, sure, whatever. Rectangle, rect. It's gonna give me the position and size. Okay, then we need a signal. Just not gonna have any arcs. And it's gonna be called on click. And who's gonna check? So right now, I believe the button itself checks if it has been clicked. Yeah, it does. If the touch point count is something greater, then it checks for a collision. Okay. I mean, we could do that. And when we do need to optimize, we will put this into a bigger system that's going to go into the UI manager, or maybe the canvas that can handle these things. For now, this should work. Okay. So then let's derive this from dropple entity. Then let's implement. It's basically re-implementing this class over here in a different name. Might as well just copy paste these things. The things that are gonna change is the center position. The pivot is not gonna be in the center. It's gonna be on the left bottom. Rectangle.x. So I generate the rectangle. So probably should have that saved over here. Rectangle and rect rounds. And I've done something weird here. We have two rectangles. While this rectangle for the position, and the other, and I have another one for drawing. And do I do that? What is the drawing rectangle takes the texture width file, it takes rectangle dot x. What is this argument? That is the position. Source rectangle is rec draw, and we're drawing it at that doesn't have to be. Why doesn't that need to? Alright, we're moving it down. The rectangle x is moved down. So this is a very roundabout way of doing things. I don't know why. But alright. Okay. Let's put this constructor. Constructor must initialize class draw with entity with that entity with q and UI and rect is gonna be the rect. I might save the file path, or maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, I don't need to right now, but I do need the texture 2D. I never know the difference between texture 2D and texture. I guess texture 2D is derived from texture. Yeah, maybe that's it. And texture could just, have multiple 3D textures and whatnot, whatever. Alright, this is gonna be texture. Texture is gonna be, oh, sorry, this is gonna go here. Resource manager to get texture with file path. Alright, that works. What do you say? Oh, alright, this returns a pointer, I believe. Shared pointer. Alright. What do I store it? I do store it as a shared pointer. Okay, just shared pointer of texture. Go. Okay. So now I have a texture, I have a button. Let's get the update function. Update. F, and this is gonna be an alright. hide this, then come up. Okay, and I'm gonna check for collision over here, obviously. So we'll do that. Check for clicks. If it does click, then I'm gonna dispatch on click. So this can just be rectangles. Color can be, this is gonna be again rectangles, and color is red, white. Actually, it's to be just white. Yeah, sure, that should. Now this thing is gonna have to go into a canvas. Now what information I do have is okay, so let's go here. Let's say button is 200 by 100. Let's say it's 500 by 200. All right. And now that is going to be stored in the button. Now there's going to be a transform that's going to happen on the canvas. That is going to scale it relatively. So this, I might store another rectangle within each component that is gonna store the scaled version. Yeah, that makes sense. Instead of having to calculate every frame, and then probably have a method of sorts. So okay, so this is gonna be have a scale components for storing here. All right, that makes sense. Now the update. These things will probably need to be a part of a canvas, and just like Hmm. So there's gonna be a scene. Should this even be connected to a scene? I can game is gonna have a different UI, but hmm. So there can come a scenario where I'm unloading this scene. Okay, so player clicks the play button, and now right now the loading happens pretty quickly. However, there can be later on some delay. So let's say the scene takes a while to load. Till then, so what are we gonna what are we gonna do then? We're gonna keep the current scene loaded. Let's say it's the main menu scene. We're gonna keep that loaded. We're gonna put up a loading screen on top so that the user cannot interact anymore. And as soon as we get a callback that the new scene is loaded, yeah, so I can bind essentially canvas to a scene. And okay, yeah, and all of the buttons and such are gonna be the responsibility of the canvas. How will that work? Am I gonna have separate UI scenes? I mean, I do support multiple scenes if I'm not wrong. For scenes to activate, scenes to deactivate. If scene is active, then start. Everything has an S at the end, so I am gonna update multiple scenes, so I could just have separate UI scenes. Or I could have a canvas derives from scene. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know, man. Okay, so the canvas derives from scene, and the canvas has components slash layouts, etc. Okay, yeah, sure, that'll do. So yeah, you know what? Please, Let's try this out. This might be ridiculous, but let's try it out. Okay. Gonna go to my button, and this constructor of this is so it is going to be a UI manager that is going to take all of the canvases and do its thing, while the scene manager takes all of the scenes and does its thing. And maybe the UI manager is also responsible for registering the scene. Maybe, possibly. When does how do I switch scenes right now? It's probably in game.h, home scene and gameplay scene. I only have 2 scenes right now. And how do I switch the scene? Okay, this registers the scene, sets the home scene to be active, and then there is a start button somewhere. I believe it's in home scene. Yeah, the play button. And the play button has a start game. Start game is going to activate and deactivate the scene. Okay, so there is gonna be this thing happening. I haven't set up multi-threading, so it's just gonna stop everything. It's gonna be resolved someday. And how do I come back? What is end game? Is there something like end game? There is end game. What does that do? It activates home scene and deactivates gameplay scene. Okay, okay. So do I have the canvas as an entity, or do I have it as its own scene? What is the advantage of making it its own scene? I'm gonna add stuff to it. It's not like the UI is gonna persist between 2 scenes. Can't think of a scenario right now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. So let's not make it let's not do this. Let's not do this. It's just gonna be a UI manager. Canvas is gonna be part of a scene, something. child of some scene, and that is gonna handle the update of the canvas. Now, okay, so all of the components are gonna be child of that canvas, and the canvas will be registering those to its parent scene once it's created. Yeah, sure, yeah, that should work. Okay, and the scene will basically handle UI as well. Okay, yeah, this is more sane. Let's not create unnecessary scenes. Or as they say. Button.cpp. We should really have something like a log once. We'll do that. Alright. Now update. Okay, update is not going to be anything more complex. So this is just going to be button.cpp, and we're just going to get this. We can put it here. We're going to get the input header. This is a rectangle and rect trans. Huh, sure. And obviously we need a bind function. No, we don't, because onClick is public, so we don't need a bind function. Right? This should work. I might have an anchor system later on. I will have to have an anchor system. And what if we're using a layout group? Then the layout group is gonna have array hash. Okay. So can if it has a layout, the layout in turn is gonna have some components, and the layout will manage so this is basically gonna be the hierarchy. Canvas can have components. The constructor of the canvas is gonna create components, layouts. Layout can in turn create components. It's gonna be a chain fest. Might not work. I'm not sure. We'll get to it when we get to it. Okay. And the cat and the scene is gonna check for clicks for all of the buttons. And I'm doing this in a for loop. Scrolling is gonna be a pain. Yeah, the touch thing I'm gonna have to improve. But we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so now then we have this. Let's create a canvas class. Now this canvas. Wrap it in namespace. This is gonna derive from a public entity. Okay, and yeah, that's fine. But now it's not gonna do anything. Why? How do I? This is gonna be something like a scene. Also, I might have to hold the parent canvas pointer and the button and whatnot. ठीक है. Yeah, let's see how do we create entity. Base of entity. Okay. Yeah, sure. Creating an entity event seen as this. Entity start pushback. Okay. Uh-huh. So I don't. I might have to make a template. Am I doing it too soon? Maybe I'm doing it too soon. Who knows, man? Template. Empty. With type name. Arts. This is gonna return a unique pointer of class D. It's gonna call create component. Can you specify? Right now, it's not specifying anything. Just pass the args as such, and we're gonna take the parent scene, create of type this and pass args as such. And right now we're gonna keep it enabled. Okay, what args is undeclared? What the hell are you talking about? This first happens is declared. I need to do this. Five errors now. declare args. Okay, what's the other incomplete type C? Oh, that's the hash C. Alright, now what am I saying? Expected and bracket. Fine. Declaration contains unexpanded parameter args. Does missing a dot. Okay. Now what's the error? Unexpanded parameter packs args. You just need to bounce this. Expression contains unexpanded parameter args. Okay. Do you want? Do I create entities? Let's see. I should just be able to forward the arcs, right? Why do I need to do this? I can't forward arcs into arcs into arcs. Why doesn't this work? Okay, let's take some help. Need to expand them. Okay, that's it. Right. Amazing. So this has been created. Now, whenever this is created, we're just gonna store it in an auto component. Have a vector of unique pointers. components. Actually, yeah. What type is it gonna be? Entities. Yeah, the components, and we're just gonna have components dot back component dot get. And then if get else create wanting to add type names to all of my entities. I could just do this, right? Why do I? Pretty function. Function. let's just use this. Okay, so I think we're gonna stop there, right? Gonna pick this up, I don't know, in 2 days or something. Okay.